And welcome to episode 35 of the Red Mountain Express. I am your host, Blake Westbrook. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Matthew Joyner. Mr. Joyner, happy Sunday to you, man.
Happy Sunday. Happy spring forward time change.
It didn't really affect me this year because our daughter is teething, and she was just basically inconsolable for the last couple nights.
Oh, so you haven't slept in 2
No,
days.
but it did suck. Like when I woke up this morning, or from like the hour nap that I got, I was like, oh, it's only 7:30. And then like I was like, no, it's 8:30. Time to get up, go to church.
Yeah, for me it was the opposite this morning. Woke up a little bit later than I meant to. It was 8 o'clock yesterday time, but it was 9 o'clock this morning. And
what's that like, sleeping all the way through the night?
I'm just doing it while I can, because I know in a few months here, a couple months, it won't.
No, see, you'll have the child that sleeps through the night and is a good child.
I hope so.
You're chill, and
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, but also you can't control that stuff. So
no, you can't.
I'm gonna try and do all like the sleep training stuff I've heard about, and see if I can't try and rear that behavior in at a young age. But I know that's not really something that you have much control over. You just get lucky.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Yesterday morning went out and did some stuff with my brother and my nephews, hung out, got a little sunburn on my scalp. I
can't notice. It's, you got a little hair up there now. So
you're right. I need to cut it again. Went to my nephew's baseball game yesterday, and I thought it was still supposed to be a little bit sunnier and warmer, and all of a sudden rain clouds moved in and it was wet, like misty and nasty. I sat there on the stands and had a long sleeve shirt on, but it started getting colder and colder. And when I stood up to get my jacket, I realized that the moisture in the air had permeated my shirt, like it was just almost soaked by the time I stood up and realized it.
It was cold yesterday morning, and so I was wearing blue jeans and like a long sleeve button-down shirt, and then we did something at church where I had to unload this big truck, and by that time it had turned to like 65, 70 degrees, and so I was just soaking wet with sweat, and we're at that time of the year where, you're not going to know what kind of weather we're going to have.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I keep joking with my wife that the blizzard's coming next week.
It's going to be cold this week.
It's going to be cold. There's chances of snow, like a little bit north of us, Tennessee, that area.
Yeah, Huntsville, I think.
And I keep saying, I remember Marches where we've had snow. I remember March where we had a blizzard.
See, I'm a cold weather guy, though.
I am too.
Yeah.
But
at some point, you're tired of cold weather. Like, all right,
I don't want a foot of snow and ice, because
yeah.
I don't want the power to go out. That's my biggest thing. Is I would take all the snow I could get. I don't want the power to go out.
See, so you'd be better if you lived up north.
Yeah, where utilities are a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would enjoy that. Get best of both worlds. How was your weekend?
It was good. My wife's cousin's in town. He's from Houston originally, and he is looking to move to Birmingham, and so he wanted to come and fill out the city, so he was staying with us and still staying with us for a couple more days.
You tell him that a podcast you can listen to kind of get the inside scoop?
He has been listening. He's been enjoying it. So we showed him around the city. The other night we took him to Parkside.
Yeah, you sent me that picture. I was a little bit jealous, a little bit hurt that you sent me that picture.
I had some lemongrass chicken, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good. And then I kind of showed him. My wife took him to Vulcan. They went to the park yesterday, and I think Avondale Brewery.
Nice.
So he's kind of gotten the little taste of the city. He says he likes it. He says that it's got a small town feel, but with it feels like a big city as well. So
sure.
The best of both worlds.
And you said he's from Houston?
He's from Houston, yeah.
It's surprisingly to me, I've only been through there once. That felt like a much bigger city than I expected it to.
It's big.
Yeah.
Well, big, and land-wise, it's bigger than New York City.
Yeah,
it's millions and millions of people, and it's just big.
It'd be a little bit of a change coming to Birmingham, but I foresee no issues. Him looking around our city and saying, "I don't want to come to Birmingham. This is a great city. Why would you not want to come here?"
He loves it. So we'll see. He really likes it, and a lot more of the city to see. So we're glad, but hope he can find something here, and hopefully he stays here for a long, long time. So yeah. But other than that, my weekend was good. We did a thing at church, like I said yesterday, and packed some meals for the hungry, and so now I'm here talking to you. It's been a good weekend.
Cool.
Yeah. So, also some good news on my weekend was Alabama played Auburn in basketball and beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I listened to the first half on the radio, and then Alabama was down by 10. And so I was at work at the time and just was kind of working away. And then all of a sudden I got an alert on my phone that said Alabama had beaten them by was like 20 points or something.
Something like that. We had a
outscored
great
them
first
50 to 20 in the second half,
Yeah.
which shocked me because Auburn's got an excellent basketball team.
Yeah, have been doing great this season. We've had some ups and downs where we'll still win a game, but we play so sloppy.
The seeds come out today. While we're talking on the air right now, we're still kind of waiting for the NCAA to announce their tournament seeding. Auburn is expected to be a 3. Alabama's expected to be a 9. They're expected to be in the tournament, but who knows? I've seen good Alabama teams supposed to be in the tournament that were not in the tournament, and I've seen bad teams that weren't supposed to be in the tournament go to the tournament. So we're still kind of waiting on that. But, yeah, Auburn's good, though, this year. I mean,
they are. I feel like we should have beat Alabama. Of course, I'm going to feel like that regardless because I'm an Auburn fan.
Well, they should. I mean,
But
Alabama.
Based on how they've played and how Alabama's played, I just feel like that game should have been over as it was in the end of the first half. But, whatever. What are you going to do?
Well, Alabama's got a pretty good team, but they're anchored by this freshman named Colin Sexton, who will not be at Alabama next year. He'll be a lottery pick in the NBA, and he is outstanding. And he actually, we played Texas A&M the day before, and basically everybody said that we needed to beat Texas A&M just to have a shot at going to the tournament. And they had 4.4 seconds left, and he drove to the entire length of the court and threw a floater at about, right past the free throw line, and it sunk in, and we won the ball game. So, and that set us up with a game against Auburn. So he's excellent, but he won't be here next year.
No, I highly doubt it. You said he's a freshman?
He's a freshman.
That's insane.
Yeah, lottery pick.
I've seen a few clips of him. I didn't know he was a freshman, though.
He's a one and done. He was one of the freshman player of the year this year, so that's good. On Alabama news, I just want to mention this because it has pertained to Birmingham. Alabama football will move its game day broadcast to 106.9 The Eagle. They're no longer going to be on Jocks. Basketball and Hey Coach, was kind of like the coach show for Nick Saban and the other sports, or moved to 97.3 FM. The basketball and women's baseball and women's basketball moved to 1320 AM or 100.1 FM. They have moved from Jocks to Summit Media, who owns all the stations I just mentioned, which I'm going to say this. I liked when it was on Jocks because everything was on Jocks.
Right.
I'm not sure I'm going to dig this being on 5 different channels.
Yeah, that seems a pretty big spread.
Because I enjoy listening to Hey Coach, and I enjoy listening to the football games, but I don't want them to be on 2 different channels.
All right, but you listen to Jocks a pretty good bit, right?
I do. They've changed up their lineup, too.
Well, so that's what I was going to ask, was with all the changes to their lineup and then all these changes, is Jocks about to disappear?
I don't think Jocks about to disappear. I think their parent company is going through bankruptcy, which is Cumulus Media. I think that's right.
Okay.
I could be completely wrong on this, but I think that's right.
They own several stations around here, too.
Yes.
Or they did.
They do. But this was not about what Cumulus was going through. Learfield Sports, who owns the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I think their contract will run out with Jocks, possibly. And so they decided to move it to get a better deal. But for those who don't know, who listen to Jocks, maybe you haven't noticed, but the Roundtable, which is the midday show, has moved to the morning, and they canceled the opening drive with Jay Barker, Aldo Brecco, and Tony Curry. And I think now they're just kind of seeing what they can do to fill that middle spot, which I was kind of shocked that opening drive got canceled because I figured it was a well-listened show because of who the broadcasters were.
I can't imagine it wasn't a well-listened show. Jocks' programming is not it's not a very wide topic base.
No, and it's been good programming. I mean, since I think it came on when I was in college, and we got it in Tuscaloosa, and it's been pretty consistent throughout. But they've had some trouble filling that late night slot. But yeah, so that's going to happen. So I wanted to give y'all an update on that. So when Alabama is defending the national championship in 2018, you will listen to them on 106.9 The Eagle. So there you go.
All right.
Update.
Very
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll come back with a couple of news stories in Birmingham. So catch us in a minute.
Beecham Woodworks is a locally owned and operated wood shop in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in custom furniture and small home goods. Chris and Kanan Beecham create a wide variety of unique pieces of all sizes, ranging from cutting boards to farmhouse tables. Using wood sourced from Alabama sawmills, Beecham Woodworks creates affordable quality pieces that will be a one-of-a-kind fixture for your home. So support your local woodworker and visit redmountainexpress.com/woodworks or check them out on their Facebook and Instagram accounts. Beecham Woodworks, turning your house into a home. And we're back for the second half of the show. Let everybody know at the Alabama Theater this coming Friday, Ron White will be playing there Friday the 16th, 8 p.m. Tickets are still available on Ticketmaster. That's at the Alabama Theater. You a fan of Ron White? You like him? I think he's funny.
I think he's funny. I think, to my mind, Ron White, I kind of forgot about Ron White. Like, he was on the Redneck Comedy Tour.
The Blue Collar,
or Blue Collar Comedy Tour. And that was enjoyable. The whole tour was enjoyable. The few pieces I saw of that, but then they all kind of disappeared.
I liked everybody on that Blue Collar Comedy Tour except for Larry the Cable Guy. I just didn't find him funny.
Yeah, not really my kind of humor. I appreciate him.
Yeah, I appreciate it, but yeah.
And of course, he's Mater or Toe Mater. Like,
yeah, but see, he doesn't talk like that. Like, have you ever seen the interview about how he can do pretty much any dialect?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird when you see him talk like that, but. I liked everybody else on that Blue Collar Comedy Tour. I mean,
it's an entertaining show. But like I said, I kind of forgot about it.
Well, don't forget about it. Him being at the Alabama Theater on Friday. How about that? But with that, we've got some pretty big news stories. Matthew, what do you got first for us?
So first thing I want to talk about, we've talked about it several times already. The process moving towards the BJCC renovation and new stadium. This last week, the House committee approved that funding bill.
Yeah. So the way this works is that certain areas of the state have local legislative delegations, like the Birmingham legislative delegation, and they have a House committee and Senate committee. So their local committee passed it. I think it was on a 9-2 vote.
I think that's right.
And so now the next step is for a vote on the floor.
Exactly, before the full House. So I think it's got really good odds. I think we've got more momentum going for this than we've ever had before. Yeah. We're further along in the process than we've ever been before. I'm excited. I don't see many.
There's a couple opposition to it, but
there's at least one person we've talked about, Rogers, who has said that he's going to be against it.
He says that he's for development, and I think he's for Dome Stadium, but I think he kind of is worried about where the money is going to go. So he has some reservations on that, and I think there may be one other, but I'm kind of with you. I think that there's momentum on this and that it's going to get through. And we're reporting on something that we heard about on last week. Things get worked out before they go to the floor. So we'll keep you updated on that. Also in the downtown area, there was an announcement about affordable apartments coming to the downtown area. It's the Martin Building, which is 4th Avenue North and 23rd Street. To give you kind of an idea where that is, it's near the downtown post office. Trying to think what else is in that area that is kind of a big landmark.
Well, it's a block away from the First Presbyterian Church.
Right, and St. Paul's Cathedral.
Right, and St. Paul's Cathedral.
Right, so you can't miss it. And then I think First Light, which is a women's shelter, is right over there as well.
Right across the street.
Right, yeah. So it's a 12-story building. There's talks of having a retail on the ground floor. They got a tax credit to start redoing this, but the most important part of this is that it's going to be affordable housing.
Right. So they said the prices will start at $600 a month.
Yeah, $600 for a studio, and then they've talked about a 2-bedroom being $900.
Yeah, and that's great. Thinking about downtown prices, those are great prices.
Yeah, 137 units, and so that's really important. It's good for that area too, which has seen some revitalization, but kind of needs something else. Yeah. And also, it's expensive to live downtown.
It is.
And that's the problem that I think comes with revitalization is you see rental prices skyrocket and that some people get priced out of housing, and that's terrible. It's not right, and so hopefully this will help relieve some of that. But
and some of that's unavoidable. I mean, as areas see renovation and see reinvigoration, of course prices go up because supply and demand. That real estate becomes more valuable. The people come in and do something new with a building, and they have to charge more for the use of that building. That's just how it's going to work. But it's nice to see somebody come in and supply more affordable housing.
Right. Yeah. So they got some tax credits on this, right?
Yeah, I think the tax credits they got were just under $200,000.
But they want more. Is that right?
I think they're still on the board for $2.9 million in tax credit.
Yeah,
I think that's on the list until next year. Yeah. So maybe they'll see that.
I don't think they have a date of when they would start construction on this. I think it's just kind of been announced. So we're a long way from them, demoing here. It's just it's good news. But like I said, the proof's in the pudding on this. You gotta see when it's we've had a lot of announcements that have just been announcements that's not happened. So but we kind of feel that time is kind of past in Birmingham. Most of the stuff that gets announced comes to fruition.
Yeah, it seems like the boulder's moving downhill now.
Yeah,
and picking up speed.
Yeah.
Speaking of boulders moving downhill and picking up speed, we've talked several times about the stuff that Randall Woodfin has been doing as mayor and the city council has been approving here lately, talking about being excited about that. And every time we've talked about it, we've said, Mr. Woodfin, if you're listening,
Randall,
we want you to be on the show
listening.
again. I have emailed Mr. Woodfin, and I believe that email has been passed on to their communications director. So we are waiting to hear.
So, Mr. Woodfin's communications director, if you listen to our show, let's go ahead and prove that. Let's get that on the calendar, and we'll. Are we going to do it someplace so it's not so noisy?
Oh, we'll do it wherever he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's got an office now, so.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, City Hall.
Yeah.
Live from City Hall. Well, speaking of Randall Woodfin and city government, the city council just passed the Complete Streets policy. We talked about this how long ago?
Just a month or so back.
Right. So what Complete Streets are is that it will provide a city with better sidewalks, bike lanes, active roadways, crosswalks, and green spaces in the downtown area. This is now policy. It's not just a suggestion. It's policy. And so it was approved unanimously. And so what you're going to see now is that any time a street comes up for renovation or repair in the city, they'll have two committees that are made up of contractors, city employees, and different appointees from the city. They'll look at that street and decide whether or not the ordinance will apply. Give you a good example is you don't want to have like a cul-de-sac. I think I've said this before. You don't want to do this on a cul-de-sac, because there's no reason to have a complete street where no one's going to really drive through. But if it's like 4th Avenue North, then you want to start actually doing the complete street ordinance. But also it's good they're doing it repair by repair, because it gives you some time to work out the kinks in the system. You don't want to do something along the whole city and then figure out it doesn't work. So it'll help you kind of assess what's good for certain areas and what's not so good. And so this is big for the city.
Yeah, I agree. So, for the other stories we talked about, they have a lot of wide range implications, and there's some cool things to think about there. To me, this is probably the story I'm most excited about this week, because as you make the city, the city's growing and we're getting new things and we're getting nicer things. But as the city grows, being able to make streets more pedestrian accessible, like that's huge.
Well, it helps with retail too.
Absolutely. You make the city look better for people coming in, like that's huge. People walking past businesses and they're doing a little window shopping and step in, buy something, that's great. People will be able to travel around on their bicycles, that's huge. I'm excited about this.
Do you travel on your bicycle a lot?
Not a whole lot, but I'm still excited about it.
I also think that you see a lot of cities that are up and coming have pedestrian-friendly streets. Charlotte, Denver, are two of the cities that I can think of that I know have this. So we're just kind of getting in line with some of these other cities that will help us, grow and actually put our infrastructure back together at a more pedestrian-friendly pace.
And we also talked about last time how this would also affect parking around the city.
Yes.
With the new parking meters.
I think we're still waiting on that to see what they want to do with that, but I definitely think there needs to be something done with parking, especially since I don't carry around a bag full of quarters in my car.
Exactly. I've started keeping a small cup of change just in case I have to park in a meter, but having the ability to do that on my phone or with a credit card or debit card, like that would be huge. I'm all for that.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's it for today.
Yeah, so those are some pretty big stories, but just a few of them, so we're going to go a little bit shorter than normal.
Yeah, which I think people are fine with. Sometimes you don't want to listen to us for a full 45, 30 minutes, right? I mean...
45? Have we done 40?
We've gone 45, especially when we talk about Star Wars.
We gave people warning about that, though.
Speaking of movies, I saw Darkest Hour this week. The Churchill movie. It was good. I enjoyed it.
I'm scared to ask you about it.
It was great. It went particularly... historically accurate in some parts, but I enjoyed it.
We can never have a movie review podcast.
Why
I would
not?
spend way too much time rolling my eyes. I would have a headache by the time it was over, just from my eye rolling.
What about what did I just say was bad?
Nothing.
I said it was good. I said I enjoyed it. I said there were some things that were historically accurate, but I enjoyed the movie. I'm sorry. Next time I'll make sure Jar Jar Binks is playing Winston Churchill. Okay? All right? Maybe his wife Clementine will go flying through space like way Leia did. Anyway, thank you for joining us here on the Red Mountain Express. If we have another show.
We are a flaming garbage truck.
We are sometimes. We'll see you next week. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also log on to redmountainexpress.com. Leave some comments. Also, there are show notes will be posted on there as well. For Matthew Joyner, I'm Blake Westbrook, and I'm the one who knows all about movies. And Matthew,
we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.